Right, I think we will kick it off there. I think everybody's joined on time. Right, guys, thank you for your time. My name's Julian, the founder of Englisher, and we are working with Leeds Beckett University in the UK with the postgraduate certificate in education. And I'm just going to give you a quick introduction. Just give me one moment while I load up my presentation. Perfect. Okay, then. Right. So to kick it off, we've got a few presenters that are going to talk to us today. So we've got Meri. Meri Nasilyan is the course director of the PGCE. We have Leanne Buckley, who is the module leader for the PGCE. And we'll also hear a little bit from Rowena, the founder of Totally Teach, who's going to talk to us about international schools and their requirements as well. So yeah, to kick it off, I'd love to pass over the microphone to Leanne. To Meri, and Meri's going to kick off the presentation now for us. So over to you, Meri.
Thanks, Julian. Hi, everyone. Just bear with me a second and I will share my screen. And I hope you can see this okay. Right. Well, hello, everyone. Thank you for your time on this Monday afternoon and evening. And hello from UK, from Leeds Beckett University. My name is Meri and I'm the course director. And I and Leanne represent our PGCE, which sits under Digital Transformative Education Department. So this is our subject area. And you can see several of our academics, and hopefully you will get to know the team as you start, if you decide to start your PGCE experience. So a little bit about Leeds Beckett University. So Leeds Beckett is a public university based in England, in the north of England, and it has more than 25,000 students studying both at undergraduate and postgraduate level. So this PGCE is a postgraduate degree, so it's level 7. It's master's degree. So ordinarily, we would expect you to have done some prior studies before you go on to this postgraduate. And in terms of our department, so digital transformative education, I think the digital says it for itself. So all our courses, this PGCE included, are entirely online, entirely distance learning. So there is no need to be at any point in any given time to do the course. So it's rather flexible, and we'll go into the details of that as we continue our presentation. So about a PGCE, it's a general academic PGCE. It means that we do not have subject specialism. So you will not be doing PGCE physics or PGCE maths or PGCE English, nor you will have the option of either primary or secondary. So it's a general academic PGCE. However, our content, our expertise, our assignments, and the overall delivery does cover the wide spectrum that PGCE entails. So you will be introduced of all those contexts around primary, secondary, kindergarten, nursery, even sometimes higher education, further education, because our course does encompass a very wide audience of students that come to us from various expertise and various pedagogical contexts, and that's why the course is a general academic one. So it does cover a lot of those subject specialism, but also various levels that PGCE entails from primary to further education. And the duration of the course is about 9 months. You will start in September and you will finish by June. So right now, our current students are wrapping up the course, ready to submit the final assignment. And as of end of May, as of June, the course will be officially over. So it's a very, it sounds like a very intensive layout, several months only. However, you won't be doing everything at once. all the modules will follow each other. You will be doing one module at a time, and the modules last between 8 to 9 weeks. So you will work on one module for 8 weeks, and at the end of that week, during the 9th week, you will hand in your assignment, and then you will start the following module and then the final module. So it's all rather structured and very flexible in terms of your attendance, in terms of the participation, because attendance and participation are not assessed. So you will not be assessed to how much you are engaging with the academic team, with the content, how active you are on the email. None of that as such is assessed, because this is an entirely online course. This is a distance learning course. None of those attributes are measured. What you will be assessed on only are the assignments. So if you pass the assignments for the 3 modules, then you will pass the course. And then to be successful in passing those assignments, you are of course required, or I would probably say you are expected to engage with coursework. So you are expected to engage with the course content, with the readings, with the topics that you will be guided towards, because all of that coursework and the course content will prepare you to write your assignment and submit it, and then hopefully successfully pass. But as such, in terms of assessment that PGCE has, is assignment-based and assignment-based only. So that's all you need to do to pass the course. And as I've mentioned, fully online, and it has flexible learning format. We'll hopefully show you a bit of a demonstration of an example of a module, just so that you can visualize how our content looks like, what our content looks like, and how we proceed with it from module to module. And flexibility for working teachers, I think that's probably the most important part. We know that you all have various commitments outside of the course, and the biggest one is your teaching. However, the course is targeted to your context. Now, we do not interfere with your teaching practice. We don't do any quality assurance. We do not do any observations. This is an academic PGCE, so we do not really have any involvement in your teaching, its quality, or your school as such. However, what the course does, it gives you that space for reflection around your teaching. The assignments prompt you to think about your context, to try a few strategies as a teacher, to think about your subject specialism, to think about your professional values, to think about your students, your school needs, and then hopefully try and transform something within your context as teachers. So in that regard, the course is not just an extra addition of work that you have to do, but it is directly linked to you personally and to you professionally. So there will be a lot of relevance what the course covers in terms of readings, in terms of content, in terms of those conversations with your academic team, with each other, and then hopefully taking some of those reflective notes into your professional practice and trying to developed your professional context and your overall pedagogical competency. So I'll hand it now to Leanne, who will explain a little bit more about each of the modules and the requirements. Over to you, Leanne.
Oh, thank you, Meri. I'll just briefly introduce myself. My name's Leanne Buckley and I'm the level lead for the PGCE. If you do decide to come onto the course, you will see a lot of me. What I'm going to do today is just kind of give you a little bit of a whistle-stop tour really around the course content. So I'll cover the 3 modules. I can talk about the PGCE all day long. However, I will try and keep this concise because I'm aware that there is a lot of information lesson to take in. And I'm really looking forward to being here today, actually. So thank you very much, Julian, for inviting me. So in terms of the PGCE, there are 3 modules. The first one being Professional Values and Practice, or PVP. Developing Subject Competence, which is DSC, and School-Based Independent Study, which you'll come to know as SBIS. So each module does have a strong focus on reflective practice, okay, so that's core throughout each of the modules, and it builds on the learning from the previous module. So we've designed them in a way where what you learn in the first module links into the second, and then into the final module of SBIS as well. So it's a very similar setup. So each module has a 4,000 word assignment only. So there are no exams, no observations or anything like that. It is purely assignment based. Just to make you aware as well, there are no live teaching sessions. So as Meri kind of stated earlier, all the course content is online. However, what we do is put in a weekly tutorial, okay, and that is a live session. So that it's also recorded. So if you can't make the time and the date, you can always watch it back at your convenience. And that is where any students can drop in, come and have a chat with the module leader or the academic that's running the tutorials that week. And you know, we can talk about really student-led, so about any part of the content or the assignment as well. So in terms of where you get your content from, it's actually called My Beckett or Blackboard, and I'll give you a kind of an overview of that at the end of my presentation. But the layout for each module is very similar. So kind of when you've got through the first module, it's easier to navigate modules 2 and 3 as well. Okay, next slide, Meri. So the first module is PVP, and this module, it takes you systematically through selected components that are central to your classroom practice, okay? And as I said before, it's centred on reflective practice. So the module offers you the opportunity to link theory to practice. And the reason being is because we want you to gain that depth of knowledge and understanding that's required by the international teaching profession. In addition to that, the module is going to enable you to critically evaluate and reflect on your own practice or your own classroom practice, and really start to look at your professional values and your knowledge and skills that you have within the classroom. Okay, and throughout the module, there's going to be a focus on the identification of you engaging with professional research. So the literature surrounding your personal and professional values is really important. And that's where you can use My Beckett to engage with the suggested reading. Okay. And then what we're asking you to do is apply this to your planning, your classroom practice, and really start to think about learning and assessment. So that's what Module 1 focuses on, and you can see on screen that I've put the 3 different topics there, and what you will do is build that course content into the assignment. Okay, thank you, Meri. Okay, so the first module only had 3 topics. In DSC, Developing Subject Competency, it has 7. Okay, I don't want you to worry too much about this because it seems a big jump. However, the topics are shorter. Okay, and we give you an indication of, I suppose, what you should be kind of hoping to read through on a weekly basis. However, what we also recognise is, because this is an online course, that you will do that kind of at your leisure, really. So for some weeks you may be really busy, for other weeks you might have a little bit more time. And I think the message from us is, don't worry too much when you see 7 topics. It's really about your time management of those topics. Okay, so for DSC then, throughout this module there's a focus on again, professional and research literature, but it's looking at the curriculum, what you teach, and how you apply this to your planning, teaching, learning, assessment, your classroom management skills. But there's also an emphasis on continuing professional development. Okay, and as you can see from the screen, topic 7, we embed a number of short courses that you can then choose one to focus on and then reflect on. Okay, so what the module does is aims to provide everyone with the opportunity to develop and really enhance your subject knowledge and actually what we call your pedagogical competence within your own teaching area. Okay, and for those students that are already in a teaching environment, which might be a lot of yourselves, and what it does is it allows you to enhance your current knowledge, skills and understanding by taking into account your own experience and your reflection as well. So it's really about taking the course content, really looking at it from what your experience is of teaching to this point, and really starting to engage with the literature around why things happen within the classroom. And I think for a lot of students, this module is really kind of gives you that light bulb moment of, right, I understand now why when I put these processes in place, that works, but maybe not, but maybe the others don't. And it's really getting you to focus on the teaching and learning pedagogical practices of that are at the core of teaching. Okay, thank you, Meri. Right, the final module then, SBIS, this is really a culmination of the PGCE, and it is a topic that students absolutely love because it really forces you to think about research, okay? And what it does do is give you that opportunity for you to demonstrate what you've learned and how you've grown as a teacher over the previous months. So when I said earlier about topic 1 leads into topic 2 and topic 2 leads into topic 3, that's what we're interested in within this module. Okay, so you're going to be engaging in action research, and don't worry if you don't understand these the terminology that I'm using right now. You will when you come to this module, because we will break it down and take you through it. But so you'll be engaging in an action research project, and that will be focused on developing your own practice. So you'll start to look at some of the areas within your practice that either you want to trial something new, there's maybe a problem or an issue that you want to address, or actually it might just be that you've seen, something like a teaching and learning strategy that you're really interested in developing and building up your professional development. So there you will have autonomy to choose what area you want to focus on for this particular module. And really what we're interested in is your thoughts on this, but actually you applying that theoretical knowledge in the working context and really looking at it through a research process. So what the module does do, it provides the opportunity for students to identify and develop knowledge and competence in an area that you want to develop. So as I said before about the that thread of reflective practice runs through all of the modules in a different way. So within this one, it's really starting to look at your areas for development. And you might have picked that up in module 2 as well, developing subject competency. So sometimes students identify areas for development in module 2 and bring that to the forefront in module 3. So it really allows students, or provides students with the opportunity to negotiate what area you're going to focus on and manage and present a study related to your own personal learning outcomes. So this module is quite it's quite relaxed in the sense of content knowledge, but it's really about you taking ownership of and driving that forward from your personal perspective, and really looking what you could choose in terms for a project to really drive that personal development forward. And it's really about getting you to apply that theoretical knowledge to the context that you're working in. So that's kind of a whistle-stop tour of the 3 modules. And what I will try and do now is just share my screen, and I'll show you kind of one of the modules on my Beckett, what that looks like. Just give me a nod, someone, if you can see. Yeah, people, thumbs up, always good when you're presenting, isn't it? Okay, so this is my Beckett. Now it will look different next year, okay, and that's because we're still going to be on my Beckett, but the the kind of outer face is going to be changing slightly. So what we have here down the left hand side, this is kind of all your links to the content. So what we do in terms of, say, announcements, which is the page that I'm on now. So this is a module, this was my module, which was module 2. Okay, and I'll just take you through kind of what you can expect. So on here is just all the kind of interactions that I've had with students. I won't go through them all because there's quite a lot, as you can see. So each week you get an email just kind of advising what you can expect for that particular week, any information round about the assignment or just wider information really. So that will come through every single week, and I think students really enjoy kind of having that contact and just kind of that reassurance of this is what you could be looking at this week. This is the information that you need in terms of if you need an extension, and just really having that that kind of conversation on a weekly basis. So that will always come out on a Monday. Okay. In terms of, I suppose you've got the quality aspect. So you've got the course and module handbooks there. You have an assignment guidance section. So this is a section that students find really useful, and you'll have this for each of the modules. So it's really breaking down what the assessment entails. So you have all your learning outcomes there in terms of passing the module. You have to meet all of these learning outcomes. So it's really important that you have an understanding of these. And this is something that you can bring to the tutorials, you know, if you've got any questions or queries. And it just kind of breaks down when the deadline dates are, what to expect. And as you can see, there's kind of, it's not just all writing, there's interactive activities on there as well. We put on podcasts, videos. You've got an essay template. So you have the structure there. When it comes to the assignment, you're not left on your own to just think, what on earth is going on? There is a lot of support that comes from the course, and it comes from all of our academic team, not just the module leader. So I think that's important to kind of recognise. We have a team here that is that supports the course and the students in very different ways. And you know, if you do decide to join us, you'll get to know each of us in different ways. Okay, so that's just the kind of the guidance of around the assignment. And I won't go through all of these, but as I said before, these are all the topic areas. And as you can see here, these are the short CPD courses that I've created that you can then kind of test out if you're interested in digital pedagogy. For example, you can just click on that and it'll take you through to a short course that won't take you that long to complete, but it's designed to get you thinking about your own CPD, your own professional development. And what these tend to do is link into some of our masters courses that we offer as well. So there is the option as well, if you want to develop further, then we can have that conversation with you as well. So I'll just stop sharing that for now, and I hope that I haven't spoken too long, but there's a lot of information to give. But yeah, that's just an overview of it. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Leanne. Right, I think it's back with me. So let me again reshare my screen. Okay, so now that you know a bit more information about the modules, how it's conducted, you've even seen an interface, how our content really gets delivered. I just wanted to talk a bit more about the actual requirements, how to get onto the course. So I've provided the link here to our course website where you can see a lot of details starting from like fees, application, where you can apply online. Again, general information about the course aims, the course outcomes. So all of that is on our PGCE education website with the link provided here. But I guess the main requirement that the course has is that you need to be in a teaching position, because the course, as we have mentioned, is entirely focused on your teaching, on your context, on your practice. And therefore, The main requirement of the course is that all our applicants, all our students must be in some sort of teaching position. Now, that can be a full-time teacher, part-time teacher, voluntary teacher, supply teacher, kindergarten teacher, nursery teacher, international school teacher, local school teacher with local curriculum, not international curriculum. I know a lot of you that work in China and overall in the Southeast Asia region, a lot of the schools have their own curriculums, their own standards, and that's absolutely fine. We absolutely embrace that too. So you can come from that background as well in terms of curriculum. You can be an online teacher as well, like a distance learning teacher, a TESOL, TEFL, EAL teacher. So all of those audiences are very welcome in the course, and that's the main requirement. Otherwise, you won't be able to do the course, because everything in the modules will prompt you back to your teaching practice, will prompt you back to your local classrooms, and the assignments are entirely based around the teaching context. And that is why that's our main entry requirement. And then everything else that comes after that, in terms of language, in terms of prior studies, prior degrees, that can be discussed, that can be negotiated with the admissions team, and you will get guidance if you have any questions. If you're not meeting certain eligibility criteria, we do have an option to come to the course based on prior learning. So all of that leaves us room for flexibility, and it can be discussed, and it is of course assessed by the admissions team and then passed down to me as the course director for the final decision. But the only decision that is almost non-negotiable in terms of the entry requirement is that you working as a teacher in some capacity. You can find more guidance on PGCE in our application and enrollment pack. So I've shared this link with Julian as well, but I'll reshare it with him in case he wants to circulate it around. It's part of this presentation as well, where you can see all the information about the course, enrollment, what you need to do, when we start course induction, what's happening, what to expect. If you're at that application stage, what you need to click, what options you need to click, what is the process looking, how you will get your offer, when to expect, the timelines. So hopefully this will give you a bit more information about the enrollment and about application. I've also popped down some student testimonials here in case you want to see what other students are saying about our course, or how vast our international cohort really is. So this link is there to help you start your application, continue with it, accept it, and then what to expect after you get your offer and after you accept your offer. So everything is here. You can also see my contact details. If you want to contact me, please do. So I hope this is a helpful resource in making that decision of applying. And then to talk a little bit about our student support and what the course really does. I know sometimes the word distance learning or the word online learning might confuse people. It sometimes has this negative connotation to it. So this course is a fully accredited university course. It's just delivered through distance learning. And therefore, because this is a fully fledged university course and university degree, you do have all of the opportunities that every university student has. If you were studying on campus, you would have the same opportunities even as a distance learning student. So all of those disability advice, fees, finance support, mitigation support for extenuating circumstances, to get extensions, to get flexible arrangements, to get a reasonable adjustment plan if you need certain disability advice, or if you declare anything at the application stage. So all of those opportunities and facilities are open to you as a PGCE online student and as an international student as well. And in terms of the course support, you will work with an academic team, with a group of academics that will take responsibility in helping you succeed in the course. And I truly mean that. We always set our students for success, and therefore you will be provided all of the student support needed to undergo the course. And if you need an extension, if you need mitigating circumstances, you can always communicate that with the course team, and we will make all those available flexible arrangements to help you if you're navigating anything outside of the course. So just know that you will be supported by the course team, but also by the wider university as well. And since I've mentioned about university degree and what this course entails, I know oftentimes students ask whether the word distance learning or online will appear on the certificates or on the diplomas. Absolutely not, because it's not an online degree. It's a university degree delivered online. And therefore, there will be no mention of distance learning or online. It will simply say PGCE in Education at Leeds Beckett University. So online here is simply the teaching means. It's not the accreditation that it holds. It's a university degree. It's just taught online. So I hope this clarifies it. I know a lot of times students have these questions, rightfully so, and therefore I thought to mention it so that it puts you at ease. And it is fully accredited, and of course it's recognized in majority of the countries. So there are some countries that it's not recognized, but it has to do with some nuances around PGCE, because it's tied with the immigration laws and immigration systems. For example, I know New Zealand and Australia as well. It's not that our PGCE is not recognized, it's just PGCE in general is tied to their immigration laws. And therefore, we always advise the students to check with the immigration office when they're starting their relocation, or if they have any questions, because they do have their specific requirements about the PGCE. However, we've had several students in previous years who have done our course and they're relocated. It's just a matter of documentation and more information and everything, but it's not impossible, and it's not that it's not recognized. It's just tied to a different system that is unique to that country. Now, graduation, this is the fun part. This is my most favorite day of the year, where students are graduating. We meet you, a lot of you, in back here in Leeds, if you manage to travel, and we celebrate the day with you. So you will be invited to your graduation. You don't have to. You can still graduate in absentia, so you don't have to be present to graduate and get your certificates. However, all our students are invited to graduation, and every year we see more and more students who come to Leeds to attend their ceremonies. We've met Julian several times as well, so it's just wonderful. It's a great day, and we love it. It just means that we get to celebrate that big achievement that our students have made. So to sum it up, I guess it's following on from graduation. I thought to pop down these two blog posts that have been written by our former PGCE students, who then went on and did our masters. So they progressed from their PGCE to our masters, and they've now successfully completed both of their degrees with us. They're both based in China, in different regions in China, working in different school settings. But I thought this might be a good opportunity to share, in case you're interested of reading some of our alumni success story, how the course impacted their teaching, how the course really transformed their learning, transformed their their vision around pedagogy, around teaching, around research, around their context, around their schools. So I hope this will be a useful resource, or at least a source of motivation in case you need some source of inspiration for your own teaching practice. So I will leave you here and I will pass it over to Julian. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Meri, and thank you, Leanne, as well. I hope you guys enjoyed that information session we had there. I'm going to now pass it over straight to Rowena, who's going to discuss the market for 2026, predictions for 2027, and how the PGCE is valuable to secure positions in. We're not just going to talk about, China. There's so many countries on the list that teachers get the opportunity to teach in. We've got Saudi Arabia, Mexico, all the way to Afghanistan. The list is unbelievable, and I'm sure Rowena can chat a little about her tier system that she's got. So Rowena, I'm going to pass it straight on to you.
Okay, thanks, Julian. Let's see if it's going to let me share and behave itself. Okay, doesn't look like it is. So I will go freestyle, and I can share our tier system in the chat afterwards. So for everyone who doesn't know, my name's Rowena and I'm the owner of Totally Teach. Totally Teach started in 2018 from Hangzhou in China, and we are a recruitment agency. So we work with about 70% of the private, bilingual and international schools across China. And recently we are also working with schools now in Asia and the Middle East too. So we do see a lot of CVs from 1 week to the next. So hopefully I can give you a bit of answers and some information as to what a PGCE can really do for you, your application and your teaching journey. So at Totally Teach, we have a tier system, which Julian mentioned. So we have the basics is bronze, silver, gold, and they are the requirements that schools send us. So bronze is a degree, as we all know, for China specifically, plus a TEFL or a TESOL, 2 years of experience to get the visa. So these are your more entry level schools, maybe the schools that do not use an international curriculum, and you can kind of start your teaching journey there. Then you go up to silver, and that's where the PGCE comes in. So that's either if you've studied education as your degree, or these are now the schools that are asking for the PGCE or PGCEI qualifications as a minimum. And then you go on to gold, which are the licensing schools. So you need, thanks, Julian. So you need QTS, or a license from your home country. If you're from South Africa, say, so if you're from America, a state teaching license from there as well. The major shift that we've seen in China specifically, and I will do China and then I'll do in other countries as well, is that the bronze number of schools have now upgraded themselves to silver. So they are now requiring teachers to have a PGCE as a minimum. So as you can imagine, the number of teachers that have got qualified, that is now the general expectation across the board. If you have a degree and a TEFL and 5 years experience, a candidate that has exactly the same but has a PGCE, their CV is going to go to the top of the pile purely for who's going to get read first. I'm not saying it's the person that definitely gets the job, because a lot of other factors come into who actually gets an offer and the contract and signed. It has to be right in many ways for both parties. But if you're looking to be competitive, if you're looking to go ahead when there are 200 or on one advert for a school that recently opened in Bangkok, 1,400 applications for one position. That's not a word of a lie, that's from the owner himself. So you can imagine what these hiring people, whether they're recruiters like us or whether they're HR or principals, their minimum checklist in their mind is a qualification along with everything else. So if you want to get noticed and not kind of go to the bottom of the pile when they've already reviewed hundreds of CVs, that is what's going to get you noticed first. And in China, for longevity, it is what more and more schools are asking for. It's not going the other way. This isn't COVID times. It's those heydays are over, unfortunately. It's now, where are we going? We're improving, we're upgrading in every which way, and they are expecting the teachers to do the same. So it is very much an upward trajectory. It's not going to go the other way, and it is needed for teachers to stay competitive in China too. In terms of research, ISC research say that there's going to be nearly 300 new international schools opening worldwide, and at least 60% of them are going to be in Asia and the Middle East. And why that's important, like Meri mentioned as well, in the Middle East, the Gulf region, regardless of what's happening at this precise moment, obviously we have to look to the future. The school builds are still going ahead, and they, as a law, as an immigration law, require a PGCE as a minimum or qualification of some sort. If you have something else that's applicable, obviously that's fine. But if you don't have anything, then you need a minimum of a PGCE to even be legally allowed to teach in the country. And it's becoming more and more as a standard for these countries that are developing, I would say, within education. And Julian mentioned Saudi Arabia. It was only a few months ago that Saudi Arabia announced, the Ministry of Education said that they now require a license of some sort, and that did include a PGCE for teachers to now teach in Saudi Arabia going forward, in line with their Vision 2030 plan. So this is something that is happening globally. It's not isolated just to China, but it is your, as me and Julian call it, your PGCE passport to be able to teach globally, be able to be more flexible, take advantage of opportunities. You don't want to be left behind and realize that you can't leave China because you don't have a qualification that will enable you to do that. And then you need to think about what kind of opportunities this qualification unlocks for you in terms of the caliber of school that you are then applicable for. So obviously the PGCE, it helps you improve your knowledge, grow as a teacher, and the practical skills that you can then include in your classroom, which is amazing for you and your students. But also it enables you to apply to these silver tier schools worldwide, that if you think about not only the salary in isolation, just the overall package. So when you think about fully paid holidays, medical insurance, benefits for your spouse or dependents, whether you have children, wife or husband, whatever that may be, teaching with an international curriculum, getting that British curriculum experience, or IB, or in another direction, which again just makes you more competitive overall as a candidate as you go forward. So it's really I would say now it was something more scarce before, especially kind of, I would say, during that COVID period within China. If you had a PGCE, it was like, oh wow, you're a teacher with that qualification, and schools really fought for that. Now they are the ones that are setting the demand, because we know everything that's happening in China. It's a school market rather than a teacher market like it was before, and they are setting the minimum benchmark as a PGCE. And if you don't have one, it's much harder for you to get noticed, and whether that is rightly or wrongly in terms of your experience that you've already had and the contribution you can make, it just makes the journey a little bit more difficult. And the PGCE is seen that you're investing in yourself, that you are a lifelong learner, that you do want to improve your practices, that you do want to be going in a direction and keeping up to date with the latest teaching methods and pedagogy that you can include within your experience too. So it's not ever seen as a negative. It only improves you and your chances and your opportunities worldwide. And I think that what Meri mentioned, that it doesn't say that this particular PGCE doesn't say on it that it's online or a distance learning certificate, I think is incredibly important, because that is more favourably looked upon by schools as well. So I think I kept to my window that Julian set me, but feel free, I'll have a look in the chat now on questions if there are specifics that you would like to know about what the PGCE does for you and your teaching opportunities. so we can, I think we're going on to a Q&A now anyway, aren't we, Julian? So that I can answer those as well. I hope that was...
That's right. Perfect. Thank you very much, Rowena. Right, guys, it's now, the floor is over to you. Now, my team have sent me a few questions that I'm going to read out, and then hopefully Meri, Leanne, or Rowena can help jump in of these questions. So, guys, as I'm reading out these questions, feel free to spam the group with your questions. We're going to get them answered as soon as we can. So we'll go for the first one. I'm going to take this one for Leanne. Leanne, is there a deadline for completing these modules? And I'm going to add an extra bit to that because there's one that we get quite a lot is, can you finish those modules earlier? Are the other modules then get unlocked if you finished it earlier?
Okay, so each module will have its own deadline. So they're not all open at the same time because that would be too overwhelming. So we take topic 1 in isolation, topic 2 in isolation, topic 3 in isolation. So in terms of the deadline, you on My Beckett, so the platform that I showed you earlier, there will be a deadline date and there will be an extension date as well if you need a little bit of extra time. So we ask you to submit by that date. If you want to submit earlier, that's absolutely fine. What we would say is we won't open the next module until the first module has finished. What I tend to do is maybe open it a week earlier, just so that any kind of students that are eager to get started have a week's grace to have a bit of a rest as well. You know, we do advocate for that work-life balance. But if you do want to get started, we tend to open it a week earlier so that you can familiarise yourself. Sorry, Julian, just remind me of the second question.
Yeah, no, Leanne, I think that was it. I think basically you've covered the fact that, yeah, that we do have a deadline for the module. Another one is, what happens if, you know, you're approaching that deadline and you don't make the deadline?
Okay, we are an extremely supportive course, and I say that from the feedback that we've had from students previously. And if you can't make the deadline, first of all, please don't worry. There's always a solution to a problem. So we do encourage students to get in touch with us, so we can advise. We do have a shared inbox where all students are able to just advise us of that. And if it's a short kind of deadline, short extension, sorry, that they need, the course team can approve that. If it's a much more serious matter where students will need a longer deadline, then we do have a formal process to go for that. And as I said before, Julian, in the announcements that go out each week, we do advise on the protocol for that. But students are welcome to contact our shared inbox at any time, and we, you know, the academic team can give you that that personal advice depending on what your circumstances are at the time.
Yeah, that's perfect. Thank you very much, Leanne. Right, the next question I've got on my list, will the qualification be recognised by international schools in China? I think this did get answered by Rowena, but I'm going to pass it straight back to Rowena. Rowena, do you have anything to say on if the qualification will be recognised by international schools in China?
Yeah, definitely. I think that the definition of international schools can differ between people. So, you know, international schools, really what they should be is a license that the school can only accept students that are not Chinese nationality. So they are other passport holders. And those schools that are truly, truly international will absolutely minimum require a PGC. They might even require a QTS or a licensing that so they're the kind of gold tier that I mentioned. But then there is international schools in China which are they are allowed to accept local students, but they use a mixture of curriculum, can I say that, where it's local and international. And there are also, you know, they use international marketing in terms of their name, their culture, their ethics and things like that. And they definitely do want a PGCE to be able to say to the parents, this is the standard that we are upholding for the teachers that are teaching your children. And they are more so the schools that a PGCE is very much wanted, needed, and the licensing not so much. They don't really require it yet. Not saying it's not going to happen, but those are the ones where they definitely want a PGCE now as well. So whichever definition of international school, PGCE is a minimum for both.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Rowena. Now, I have got a special guest actually that's just joined the meeting and wants to say a few words. I'd like to pass the microphone now over to one of our current students who is on the PGCE course. His name is Richard, and he wants to say a few words. Richard, are you there? I've unmiked you.
Yeah, I'm here. Thank you very much. I'm so happy to see Leanne and also Meri. I just want to say something to prospect students, those who are trying to get to PGCE course, that it's really good because I started last year with Julian and he has been so wonderful. So I'm so happy to see even Leanne online now. I'm currently watching with my wife because she's also trying to do the same thing. So guys, I want to tell you PGCE is real and it's helping us. And now, after completing my PGCE, I'm continuing to my master's and it's so good. I want you guys to trust Julian. He's in Tyndall and he's one of the best. Anytime I have a problem, I go one-on-one with him. He helps me with my PVP, what I'm supposed to do, DSC. I nearly gave up when I got to DSC. He said, Richard, you can do it. Just keep it up. And now I'm done with my SBIS and I'm waiting to submit my assignment. Guys, you just have to plan week after week how to do it. If you wait for the last day, you cannot complete it. We are all busy in China. Just try to find weekend and try to start it. I'm so proud of myself joining the PGCE. So I told Julian that I really want to talk. And guys, trust these guys. They are very good. That's all I want to say. Thank you very much, Julian. And thank you, Leanne. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Thank you, Richard. Right. I've got a question for Meri. Meri, are we ready? So let me spotlight Meri for you. So Meri, I've got a question in the chat. It says, I'm considering the PGCE program at Leeds Beckett University, but my school is more familiar with programs such as the University of Warwick. Could you share how Leeds Beckett's PGCE is recognised and what aspects of the program are the schools typically value? I'd also appreciate any advice on how to present the strengths of the Leeds Beckett PGCE to her school.
Right. I think this is probably part of a bigger conversation, but also, right, I will be very honest and transparent with you because I think, but that's how we roll, really. We know that there are PGCEs offered by every other university in the UK, and I would probably say that they're all of a really good standard because you have to have really good standard because you are training teachers, you are training educators, so that quality assurance should be present. And I don't know this specific degree from University of Warwick, but I also don't want to assume that it lacks a quality or anything, because I know that it's hard to lack a quality when you are providing PGCE because you have such a big responsibility of educating educators. So I can't really say that our course is better than Warwick's course. What I can only say about our course, about the course that we have put together, we are delivering, is that we do try to think of the international market as well. We are updating our content on a yearly basis because we know the landscape changes, so we can't really rely on what we assume the students would need. So we do always ask our students, what is it that they would like to see in the course? There are these opportunities for students to share their feedback, to give their perspective. We work with Julian a lot from that international outlook as well, to see what is happening in the context that we can tackle in terms of our content, in terms of that applicability, in terms of the eligibility as well, so that teachers will not simply read about the Western education system around the UK education system or the teacher standards that are applicable here, we try to redevelop our content on a yearly basis and make adjustments to our assignments as well. If we see that something is really not working with our students, then we are very open to changes. I would, however, say that it's not always the case in academia a lot. A lot of times universities tend to be a bit resistant to that change for various reasons. However, it's definitely not about me or Leanne or our department. If we see a room for change, we will absolutely apply that, because I think that's the only way to develop. The current market is changing so fast. We've seen it in Rowena's presentation as well. Everything is changing so fast on a yearly basis that we can't really not make any changes to PGCE as well. So I would say we do have a really strong international outlook. We do have very individualized approach to our students, even though we have more than 500 students in our cohort. But trust me, we recognize the student's name and we still remember our students years on. And we do have a dedicated team. So for our PGCE Online, there is a dedicated team of academics that are deployed for the PGCE course. There is even a specific email just for that academic team dedicated for PGCE, because it's such a big responsibility for our department to develop this course, but also to deliver, that we do take this seriously. And then we do have a lot of student support mechanisms as well. We try to take the word distance out of distance learning. And I know sometimes it means nothing when the student hears us say, or they're just thinking we're trying to say a lot of positive things about our course. But I can truly and honestly say, as course director, that we mean by that, because we do have really good relationship with our students. There are a lot of opportunities to meet. There are a lot of opportunities to share feedback. So we do lead by example of what we're saying, and we do put our students at priority, because that's how it should be. And we also do take into account research-focused teaching. We conduct research ourselves as well, so we try to bring that into our context as well. We try to have a bit more current outlook when it comes to our assignment, when it comes to our approach to academic integrity, to artificial intelligence. So we do have that expertise in place where we try to give a bit more current, a bit more global outlook as part of our PGCE. So it's not just the content that we teach, but the overall global outlook that the course encompasses. So whether this helps you to make the decision whether to go to University of Warwick, which I'm sure also has a wonderful PGCE course, I don't know, but what I can say is our experience. If you want to talk further, I'm happy to have a chat with students. You can always email me. So we're very open to share more information if you want a bit more extra kind of content from us. So feel free to reach out, and then hopefully you can make the decision that best kind of suits you and your interest and your school as well. I hope this answers. It's a, you know, when they say short question, long answer, I hope this was not the case, but I tried to. I tried my best.
Oh, it was really good, Meri. I've got one extra question for you, Meri, while I've got you on the spotlight. It's by Michelle, and she just wants some clarification. You said it was okay if the schools we work with, you know, have their own curriculum.
Yeah.
Does this PGCE course, you know, follow an IB curriculum, or is it just general?
No, we don't have a curriculum to follow ourselves, because that's not how PGCEs are structured, or how university degrees don't follow a curriculum. This is very different from a school system, and therefore we do have that flexibility to open our audiences of the schools to various curriculums. So yeah, but we ourselves don't follow that curriculum, because higher education does not follow the same kind of standards in terms of curriculum that other contexts do.
Perfect. And the one I get the most is, let's say a teacher's working in a kindergarten, or they're working in a training centre. Are they still applicable to join the PGCE?
Absolutely. We have so many students who work in kindergarten, who work in training, who work like teaching English, who work like in the online capacity as well. Absolutely. And we've not heard anything that says otherwise, that the course is not really applicable to them, or they have hard time handling the course, or even the content or the applicability or the curriculum or the reading. So none of that. We have not received any feedback to indicate otherwise, and we do have a lot of students who come to us from a kindergarten context. It might just be that when you are applying, admissions will check with me whether the curriculum matches our course and everything, and in majority of cases it's a yes from me. So that might be the only time where you might get a question from admissions, or they will check with me just to make sure that the course can tailor your context. And so far, we've not had any issues with those students.
Perfect. And another question has just come in by Harry. As it's a general program, I think the question is, you know, if he's teaching maths or physics or geography, does it matter?
No. So what the course does to you, it equips you with that theoretical / practical exposure to what it means to be a teacher, what it means to have professional values. What does your school look like? What policies you're following? Is there a gap in your teaching? So you can be teaching various subjects. What the course does is then asks you those important pedagogical questions to reflect about your own practice, or maybe apply some changes, some strategies within your context. And therefore, you do not need to come to us from a specific subject specialism, or expect the PGCE to give you that subject specialism. I could see that Leanne has her hand up. Sorry, Leanne, if you wanted to come in.
That's okay, Meri. I think you just touched on what I was going to say. So for me, the benefit of the course being general is as you move through the topics, you start to really apply the content to your specific context. And for some of the topics, there might be some readings in there that are focused on primary, whereas if you're teaching secondary or a different context or age group, you don't have to engage with that. So it's really about coming at the course and having that filter. So when you start to move through the content, start to think about whether it's applicable to the area of your teaching, and that's a real key skill when it comes onto this PGCE. And as you move through the modules, that will become clear to you, because we cover, there's a lot of content on there, and we kind of cover it for everyone. We do say if you want to obviously engage with all of it, that's absolutely fine for your own kind of general awareness, but you can just focus on the content that's designed for your specific age phase or context that you're teaching within. So that's the beauty of it being general. You then start to use that reflective practice that I spoke about earlier as central to your development within this programme.
Perfect. Thank you, Leanne. Leanne, while I've got you here, I think Sonia has another question. Would it be an issue to get a job in early years if you had this PGCE? Since it's so general, I think that's her question.
Not as far as I'm aware. We've never had any feedback to suggest it is an issue. Meri, correct me if I'm wrong on that.
Yeah, same for me. No feedback that suggests otherwise has come to us, or the PGCE has hindered students' kind of career progression moving forward. So yeah, our answer would be no. But again, we cannot guarantee individual cases, school climate, your context, but from our kind of general information and general knowledge, that should not be a problem. Because PGCE is PGCE. It's the same degree, you know, all PGCEs are, I don't want to say the word the same, but it is the same in that umbrella term that we know what a PGCE is. And so if you have a PGCE, you have a PGCE. So there is no differentiation between what PGCE it is. The only difference, and I guess that will lead to the question about QTS, is that some PGCEs come with QTS tagged to it. So you are getting your PGCE, you're almost getting your teacher training to become a teacher, and it's attached to your like qualified teacher status, like your QTS. So if I can, if I'm okay to address that question as well, Julian, about how to proceed to QTS.
Yeah, that was the next one. Yeah,
Okay.
that'll be great.
So this is my least favorite question, I'll be honest with you, because QTS is it's such a conflicting qualification because it's a qualification that is required or that is recognized in England. It's such an English-based qualification. So QTS, so English teachers, if they want to work as teachers, then they have to do the qualified teacher status. But I know that it creates a lot of noise, a lot of importance internationally as well, because of some international schools, because of just those recognized words that a lot of times schools do like to enforce on their teachers. But QTS is predominantly a kind of UK, targeted to a UK market because it's applicable to UK teachers, not even UK, I would say probably English teachers. However, if you are interested in doing QTS, you no longer have to do the full thing. Because you have your PGCE and you want to do QTS, you can do it through assessment only route. You don't have to do the full program anymore because part of QTS is also tackling PGCE, but you have done that, so you don't need to do that anymore. What you need to do is then find an assessment route only, an assessment only route. Now, Leeds Beckett does not offer that. And I know some universities do, but the challenge of assessment only route is the geographical limitation to it. I know some universities might offer assessment only route if they do have that opportunity of someone relocating and coming to your context, because assessment only is tied to QTS, therefore they need to have that practical element. Someone will need to come and observe your lessons, interfere with your practice because they're giving you the QTS, so they need to evidence that you can teach to give you that status. So I would probably say do some research, what assessment only routes are available, maybe in China, some universities that you can find. We do have some partners that I can recommend in the UK, but they only work with the UK, within the UK region. And therefore, I don't really know many that offer internationally. However, there will be some universities that do that. So I'd probably say do a bit of search and see what assessment only option might work for your geographical location, or maybe your school might know a bit more about this. But just know that you don't have to do the full QTS after you do your PGCE. You can just go through this shorter route. I hope this helps.
No, that's really good. It's a hot topic. There is another question I'd love to answer. It's just popped up by Whitney. Do you have a special educational needs in a master's? But I'd love to also talk about not just masters, because I do know that Leeds Beckett University have a postgraduate certificate in special educational needs in international contexts. Are you able to talk maybe a quick difference between the PGCE cert and the masters, etc.?
Sorry, I'll just unmute myself. Absolutely. So one of our strengths of our department and expertise is around inclusive practice and special educational needs, SEND, inclusion, exclusion. So we do have a master's course, MA in Inclusive Practice in Education. So you can do the master's course. Or you can, if you work in international context and you do want a bit more experience in terms of that SEN leadership, a bit more of that practical kind of exposure, then you could explore our PG Cert leading SEN in international context. So if you think that maybe your role or your future career aspiration is working within the SEN context of your school, then I would probably say this course might be useful for you, because it does target the international outlook. It does talk about that enhanced insight into like barriers to learning, inclusion, exclusion, how cultural, contextual factors can shape experiences to them. And what it does really, it gives you that global professional kind of outlook to SEN, to diverse range of like perspectives on special educational needs, and it also will eventually then help you access opportunities to develop as a leader in education. And then of course it will then help to maximize your contribution and impact within your school, within that SEND role that you are partaking, or around overall that embedding of inclusive practice within your school. So both courses, one of course is Masters, the other one is PG Cert, with very similar layout to PGCE Online. You will do 3 modules, an assignment at the end if you're interested in the PG Cert International, leading international SEN in international context. Again, you'll start September, finish in June. You'll work with a dedicated team of academics. You'll have module leader. It's all, again, coursework based, assignment based. The same format of like distance learning applies to all our courses. That flexibility and also that only assignments are part of our assessment apply to all our courses. And then a master's, of course, it's a bit more specialized, longer course, master's degree. But what you can do, you can just go and do the PG Cert in SEN, or do our PGCE Online. And if you're still interested in inclusive practice, you can then progress after you complete your PG Cert into a master's, and then that will of course decrease a lot of your fees, a lot of the time, a lot of the modules that you will do, because you are almost, your PG Cert is replacing that first element of master's degree. So that's how progression works. But again, if you're interested, I think I've popped down the links to our to the website. Have a look. If you're interested, get in touch. You can always get in touch with me. I'm the course director. All those courses are kind of my responsibility. And if I can't answer your question, I will direct you to our level leads like Leanne, Tracy for our inclusive education courses. So you can just reach out if you have any questions, big or small, really. Education is an important part, and I don't want to pretend like it's easy to do a degree. It's not easy financially, it's not easy professionally, it's not easy personally. So I know that students and applicants spend a lot of effort, time and money. So I want you to know that we want you to choose a course that suits you the most, because we understand of the challenges that happen outside of the academic world. So if we can help you with anything, help you navigate and make that best decision that suits you and your career kind of aspirations, then we will try our best.
Perfect. Thank you, Meri. I did just see another comment. I'm going to quickly answer it, because I know Leanne's teaching very, very soon. So does the PGCE program include any modules with AI? And there is a postgraduate certificate in digital pedagogy. We also do have a master's in digital pedagogy with artificial intelligence as well. So if you guys want to get in touch, I'm more than welcome to send you the brochures on that side as well. But yeah, I think we're gonna stop there, Meri, if that is good with you, just so that Leanne can get back to teaching. And guys, any questions you have, please scan the 2 QR codes on my left and right, and I'm more than happy to share you Leanne's email, Meri's email, and we'll happily answer your questions that you've got. I really hope this was useful, and I will share the recording link to all of you so you can watch it back, as well as the presentation that Meri and Leanne shared, so you guys can flick through any links that was on there as well. Yeah, thank you so much for your time, and I hope we